Hey folks, and welcome to another episode of Omnifactory. In the last episode, we started to set up the passive processes for microminers, specifically the Tier 7. This involved the expansion of our GregTech machine room, as well as more additions to our crafting tree. We also set up our extended crafting area, fleshed out our fusion crafting, which we're going to be expanding on today as well, and starting our assembly line room, which I think we're also going to be expanding today as well. However, a couple of things between episodes. I have moved over our RF machines, like I mentioned, the ones that were down there for the Ender IO things. Those are now in this new room here. So in order, we've got the flight control units. This is a soulbinder recipe. This one makes prescient crystals, although I don't think it's quite fast enough to keep up with the usage. The next one is for ender crystals. And these last two are for the zeologic controllers, as well as Franken zombies. And this side we've got ender resonators and sentient enders. And then on the end I just put the red coal setup, which just takes coal from the ME system. And oh, it looks like this drawer is full even. We should add another drawer because we will need more red coal than that. May as well add another 2 drawers, and I'll transfer the contents from this one to the 2 new ones since it's the old design, the old frame. So yeah, I'm going to just quickly go over how these work. So we're getting the items from this ME interface. This is being extracted via item conduit. All of these have power from the bottom. And then the items from the interface go into this slice and splice to make our ender resonators. These are then round robin between this drawer, which stores them as ender resonators, and this soul binder, which combines it with the witch soul vial, which is created here. And this is just set on push-pull, so that it grabs the empty soul vials and pushes the full soul vials to the soul binder next to it. And then this soul binder is set to extract on the bottom. We've got a drawer controller under this block here with a storage bus. And it's exactly the same on this side, except it's for Franken zombies. So this time we're spawning zombies rather than witches, and we're importing these specific items. Setting those up made me realise that we were missing a few things from the loot fabricators as well, from our DML system, so I have expanded that. I've added another full row of loot fabricators. These aren't filled with anything yet, I just added the functionality for it, and in fact I'll probably have to raise this roof 1 block at least. So the way I've got these is I'm joining the conduit network from below, just hiding with some facades here. And then I'm using the same interface that I'm using for the one below it to import the pristines, and I've just got a filter on the extract of this so that it only pulls the correct item into this interface. And in this case we need zombie heads for the Franken zombies. But if we need to expand our loot fabrication, then we definitely have space to do so, and I suspect that will be something we'll have to do in the future. Another thing is I've added this crafter for flux thrusters, and I added these signaling plates to the drawer wall as well, or the fluid solidifier wall. And also these fluxed armor platings. This is just a crafting recipe, and we're making all of this. I think today also we're going to set up our blast furnace room. So this flux electrum can only be made in the blast furnace. Right now it's still in its old spot down there somewhere. I think it's that blast furnace there that's making our flux electrum. That will need a permanent home. And then I'm just making the plates here via a compressor. A couple of changes to our processing arrays as well from last time. Thank you to the commenter who reminded me of the fact that you could fluid solidify crystal matrix. This was a huge oversight on my part. I didn't actually realise this had a fluid solidifier recipe for these crystal matrix. I spent last time trying to automate this process for the ingots. So I feel a bit silly now. I wonder how long it would have taken me to realise that. So yeah, we're now fluid solidifying the ingots and the plates. And then I've switched over the processing array to make heavy plating. This is going to be used later for the tier 8. And I've also added these glowstone elevation units to a processing array. I think this is just a, an assembler recipe? Yeah, with molten glowstone. And the very last addition is a new processing array for extruding rings. Specifically HSSG and E rings. These were quite slow when I was trying to craft, so I just fired them in a processing array. I think I'm doing these at, LUV? In fact, I might even have more extruders already crafted. I do. So that's about all that's changed in between episodes. Let's move on to what we're doing today. So, last time I mentioned we're going to need these vibrant gears. All of these gears, the bimetal Ender IO gears. And this requires Grains of Infinity, and we have a farm already for this. using pyrotheum in the overworld. However, it's nowhere near fast enough. We're only at 74,000 and we need, yeah, a lot more than we have. So we're going to have to expand our Grains of Infinity farm. And I believe the fastest way to get Grains of Infinity is through Firewater. So to make Firewater, we need a vat from Ender.io. And for this, we also have to make hooch, which is from or any sort of seeds and sugar. And then we combine it with redstone and blaze powder, and this gives us our Firewater. And then we can just creative tank this. So we need to make up at least one bucket of this. Okay, so I'm combining some potato with sugar. This is going to give us our hooch. There's at least one bucket, that's all we need. And then we combine the hooch with some blaze powder and redstone. And this will give us our Firewater. So now with this, I'm going to set up a expanded Grains of Infinity farm over in the overworld. Okay, so this is our new Grains of Infinity farm. I expanded this from 1 chunk to 4. And pretty much cover the whole floor in Firewater. The Grains of Infinity are then pulled in by this item collector from GregTech. It collects in a 64 block radius. And some of the items actually get stuck right here next to the CEF, which is being powered, by the way, by this dimensional transceiver. I just took this from our moon, what is it called again? Lunar Miner. Yeah, this Lunar Miner station that we had set up. This was powering this before, but yeah, obviously we no longer need this. So I unloaded those chunks and took this dimensional transceiver just to get power over to this collector. And then it's all going into this ender chest, which has the drawer for Grains of Infinity on the other side. Yeah, so the speeds on this aren't absolutely insane, but it's way faster than what we had before. And if it turns out we need more, I'll come back and add another couple of chunks around here. So yeah, with that now done, let's move on and make our grains, or use our Grains of Infinity to make these bimetal gears. First of all, I'll have to solidify iron gears on their own. So I'll add this to our wall, and then I'll set up 3 different processing arrays for each of these alloy smelter recipes. And these gears will ultimately get us these numismatic dynamos, which we already have on passive. We just are lacking the gears to make them consistently. And all set up. We're now making all 3 versions of these gears. We have Infinity here, Energized and Vibrant. I'm just running these at LUV, which I think should be sufficient. Although I've been wrong on processing times in the past, so yeah, we'll have to keep an eye on that. But that's the gears made, so I believe that should now be our thrusters being made automatically. Which one was it again? Ah yeah, it was for these numismatic dynamos, that's right. So we're getting numismatics, which makes the resonant thrusters, which makes the these ones, flux thrusters. Alright, so all of this now can come off our pins up to right here. So we have warp engines still to do. Mostly all of this is done, we just have to get our dislocators now. So the regular dislocators we're already making, we just have to passive the fusion crafting steps, so let's tackle that next. Oh, and I just checked the power, and it seems we've got a bit of a situation here. Minus 5 million RF a tick is not something I want to see here. So I don't think we can put this off much longer. Especially if we're going to be setting up fusion crafting, that's a lot of power drain. Especially for passive things. Yeah, 80 million RF per item. So I think we have to address this. So to fix our power situation, I want to make this Naquadah Reactor Mark II. This thing can output 655,000 EU a tick per reactor. It's a fairly sizable multi-block. And to fuel it, we need these Naquadah bolts, which are basically free. We can fluid solidify these and then make them in the extruder, 8 at a time. So I'm not worried about fueling these, it's just getting the materials together to actually build these. And it's going to take a fair bit of microversium, which I don't actually have being crafted. Can we? Oh, we can fluid solidify this, nice. Also, when I went to craft these, we're missing Inori crystal blocks. And this was the automation that I took down for the regular actually additions blocks. So I'll have to set that up, but I think for the time being I'm just going to batch craft a whole lot of this. But yeah, since this is going to be temporary, I'm just going to set this up probably down here in front of our GregTech reactors. And then we'll tear it down once we get Creative RF anyway. So I'm just going to quickly build this just to get our power out of the way, and then we'll move on for today. Alright, and we now have 12 Naquadah Reactors. This has given us a lot of power. This solves our power issues for now. Yeah, so the way this works is I'm supplying Naquadah bolts, which we're making up at our GregTech area. I'll show you that in a bit. This is just round robined into the input buses. These are only consumed once every 600 seconds, so you really don't need very many of these. Anyway, these give lead volts as a output, so I'm I'm really just trashing those, like they have no value. And then I hooked up the energy outputs to this cable here. I know it's a bit spaghetti, but of course this is going to get taken down anyway. So it's just going up here, and this is going into our tier 8 ball, which is 648 years from being charged. But yeah, we're positive about 22 million RF, 22.5 million. And again, if we need to add more of these, it's very easy to add these. It only took me about 5 minutes to build this. However, it is now the next day, and I got a bit carried away last night with moving some more of this stuff. As you can probably notice, there's a lot of machines gone from this area, which means there's a lot of new additions upstairs. I was originally just going to move like the Signalum, and then I thought, oh well, if I'm going to do Signalum, I might as well do Inderium, which was here as well. All of the other dusts, and then I ended up moving the blast furnaces over. You might notice those were gone. I think there was 2 here. There was one for Fluxed Electrum right here. That's now gone. So let me show you where those are sat now. So yeah, there's some new additions over here for like the thermal dusts. There's emerald plates. The clathrates were there. Here's our Naquadah bolts, and then I moved luminescence. I think that was there before. Mana dust. That's a new addition. Energetic blend. I also moved this electrolyzer for electrolyzing borax, and electrolyzing borax gives us boron. I don't think there's any other way to get boron other than from the ore, but it's useful to have this set up. And then I just kept the drawers down here for the outputs and put it into a drawer controller instead. Same with ruby as well. This is pulverizing exquisite rubies, which I don't actually have right now, so I can't really set the filter. In fact, let's just launch some tier 3s. Oh, quartzite. Okay, I'll deal with that in a bit. Let me just show you what else has changed. So yeah, it seems like we only need 4 blast furnaces, which are the ones I've got set up here for late game. These are things we can't fluid solidify in any way. So we have Fluxed Electrum, which is at UV, and this is rapid. This thing like eats through the dust, produces so much Fluxed Electrum. We have Mana Infused, the Naquadah Doped Bulls, which are level limited on the bottom this time, just to keep it nice and neat. All the inputs are also on the bottom. I just have separate interfaces and input buses. And we're going to like raise the floor like we have with these processing arrays. And the last one is these engraved crystal chips. And I think this cable at the back, running up the back, is going to be through the ceiling once I get this figured out. Just to keep the cables all hidden and not have this down the back of the blast furnace. But yeah, in terms of energy, we are pretty much sorted until we get creative RF. And it means I can probably take that down, but I mean, there's not really any reason to take it down. It still gets power from these turbines, so we might as well just leave it as long as we're keeping this area for now anyway, so yeah, there's still a couple more things to move, but this is looking quite empty. A lot of this is just full drawers, which I've still to move. And in fact, most of them aren't even connected anymore. Let's now move on to what we were going to do, which was to create these advanced dislocators on passive. So all of these inputs we have, except the dragon eggs, which obviously only come from microminers. So we don't have like quite an infinite supply of these yet. However, we can still set up the process and level limit it somehow, just to not use all the eggs. So I think we'll start at this side of the room and use these for passive processes. Like these 6 here. I don't know if we'll need more than 6. I was going through earlier on a couple of days ago and I pinned these items, which I think we're going to have on passive. All of these are fusion recipes. There is more than 6 here, so I guess we do need more than 6. We need 7, which is a bit of an awkward number. But maybe we can double up one if one is too slow, and we can make it a nice 9. Or maybe even fill this whole half with passive, and then I'll just build a separate area for on-demand things. But yeah, is there any way we can convert this to passively producing things? So the way the input's handled right now is from this interface, which goes into the item laser relay. I think that's going to have to change to conduits, to be honest, because we're going to have these injectors constantly supplied with items. And since the input items are different, I don't want it to like fill it all with the same type of item. I want one injector per item type. So I think we're going to have to get rid of these laser relays for the passive crafts, which means we can get rid of this interface. Let's share off this output interface. And then if we take item conduit and just hook them all up to these injectors, and we can disconnect this one because we don't want the output connecting. And then to service these top ones, I obviously don't want to run cable like a conduit up here. Like that, that's a bit ugly. So maybe we can do it up the wall, like we did over there with the power conduit. Like if we break these blocks, we can have the conduit run up this wall here like this, and then hide it all with conduit facades. I mean, it's not the most elegant solution, but I mean, it gets the job done, and it'll all be hidden in the end anyway, so I think this will work. All that I have to do now is set the filters for the input items. Draconium, Ender Pearls, and Dragon Eggs. Oh wait, we also need the center item as well. How are we going to distribute that? Well, what we could do is actually use a laser relay for that. If we buffer into a chest... Wait, do we have tiny chests in this? Or what are they called? Small chests? Yeah, if we buffer into a single item inventory, so this can only hold one stack of items. Wait, actually, we're better with a Greg-type chest here. Let me show you what I mean. So if we buffer into a chest and then go into item laser relay, then into the laser, we can put a conveyor on the chest. Okay, that will push the middle item. In this case, it will be the dislocator into this item interface, and then we'll link the laser to the middle slot. And then all we have to do is filter the insert on this chest, and only dislocators will fill this chest. And apparently we're out of dislocators. Why is that? We're out of chorus. Okay. The only other way to get chorus is doing this, the Phytogenic Insulator, so we might have to set this up. But this is going to require fluxed phyto-gro, which we're not making yet. This step's going to be easy because we can tank ammonia. However, we do need to make phyto-gro. This takes apatite, coal dust, and wood pulp. And also saltpeter, I guess. I guess all of these dislocators go into making these magnet things. Oh, you may also notice I added more crafting capabilities to be able to put all these dusts in as well. I don't think I mentioned that yet, but yeah, what are we going to do about this fusion then? Because I would like to set the filters on these to make sure it works, but we might have to take a small detour and set up the Phytogenic Insulator or chorus, because that thing produces chorus but is very, very slow. Yeah, this Ender IO farm is the way we're getting our chorus right now. I think this is going to have to be switched. Okay, well let's take a small detour and make the Phytogenic Insulator. Let me get all the materials and then we'll start laying this out, probably in the room with the soul binders and things in it, since this consumes RF. Okay, so I've made the energetic infuser, which we're going to use to charge the phyto-gro, as well as 4 Phytogenic Insulators. We now have to make the phyto-gro itself. So for this we need the apatite, the coal dust, which is easy, wood pulp. I knew I had wood pulp, and it's actually here. This is where we were centrifuging our rubber wood way back at LV and MV to get methane, and we have 327,000 of this, so I suspect that's just going to be like enough for the rest of the pack. So I'm just going to slap the storage bus back on here, and we'll just use what we have. I mean, we might as well. As for the apatite, I think the apatite comes from microminers. So we have 49,000 dust, and we can turn this by autoclaving it. So I might set up an autoclave to automatically turn the dust into the gems. The saltpeter we're getting from DML, and that just leaves coal dust, which is very easy. We can just pulverize coal for that. Okay, there's the pulverizer for coal and the autoclave for the apatite. We can now add the recipe for the flux phyto-gro onto our crafting wall. We'll just add all these to the interface again. And wood pulp. Set the recipe in here. We want this one here. Yeah. This gives us our phyto-gro. And then with this, we have to make it rich phyto-gro, I believe. Yep, so we need a chemical reactor with ammonia. I'll set one of those up. Do we have a space here? We don't. Okay, I'll need to start a new line for this. We also have to add ammonia to this wall as well, which I didn't have before. This is growing quite fast, and in fact we're almost running out of space for fluids. So I added the next wall here. This should give us... Wait, once I plug this in, of course. Always forget to plug machines in. There we go, that's given us our rich phyto-gro. We'll set the drawer. And auto output. So now with the rich phyto-gro, we have to energetic infuse this. Basically just charge it, and this will give us the best version of the phyto-gro. And this is the one we use in the insulator. So these final steps just require RF, it doesn't require any EU. So I think we'll set up the last few steps in this room over here. And I believe there's a space on the end here for it. Yeah, there is. We can do it right here. Alright, so we'll need a power and ME over here. I think there's some connection under the floor. And then we'll need some way of supplying the phyto-gro to the energetic infuser, so we'll just use a interface as normal, I think. Actually, no, let's not put it there. Let's try to keep some sort of consistency, so we'll have the drawers on the bottom for the outputs, and the interfaces above it. And I noticed this area is quite laggy, actually. It's just this room. I think it's something to do with these soul binders. So, wait, I want this to be energetic infuser. We put that there, and then we supply the rich phyto-gro to this. I wonder if this auto imports into the top. I don't think it will, to be honest. Maybe if we point this down the way? No, okay, we're going to have to run conduit. That's okay, we can use the back for conduit and import here. Okay, so this charges our phyto-gro, and then we'll output it to the drawer below it. Lock the drawer, and then on each side we'll have 2 Phytogenic Insulators, which also output to drawers. These will also need power. And then there's also an augment that we need for this as well, isn't there? So, which one is it again? Is it monoculture cycle? Non-fertilizer inputs are not consumed, improving automation. I think it's this one, so it won't consume the chorus fruit that we put in there. Provides a chance not to consume fertilizer. Well, in any case, we're going to need some conversion kits. I want them at resonant tier. Oh, we're missing emeradic. Okay, let me get these augments together. Okay, I think I have this system all figured out now. I have a Aqueous Accumulator to provide water on top of each Phytogenic Insulator, which has all got the monoculture cycle augment. And in fact, I should probably put some of the fuel augments in there as well. But yeah, we have chorus flower being grown, and then it outputs to a drawer below. This is 1x2 drawers, so it holds both of the outputs. And it's really just the chorus flower we want. The chorus fruit will be voided with the void upgrade on the drawer. One thing actually I'm not so sure on is if the stack size is shared between the 2 items in this drawer. So once like this chorus fruit reaches, what is it, 64 stacks, will it also have room for the chorus flower? I assume so, but I'll have to keep an eye on that. But yeah, this allows us to more or less completely get rid of that farm now. We can even switch this over to doing rubber wood and things like that. And apples, actually. Apples is something we're going to need for these things, the magical apples, which can give us the extra utilities upgrade. Yeah, we'll have to set up the enchanter for these magical apples. So we might as well start growing apples in here as well, which is going to require a sapling. I don't know. We do have saplings, okay. And we'll need the sapling infuser augment instead. So let's put that in this one. Oh wait, is there only 2 outputs on this? Is it only the sapling and the wood? Yeah, it looks like it. We might have to convert that farm over to oak saplings instead. Yeah, it doesn't look like this is going to work, so oh well. We need a storage bus on here as well. Make sure to lock all these. We'll revisit that apple situation another day. Let's move on to what we were doing next, which was to deal with these chorus flowers. And in fact, for now, there's not really any reason we can't just use all of these for chorus. Okay, so with chorus now available, and therefore dislocators, I'm going to set the filters for all these, and we'll test to see if this little system of ours works. Okay, so I've got all the filters set, and the middle item appears to have worked, this dislocator. It looks like it's went into the chest. I put a limited item filter on here, so we only get 1, instead of using the small chest. So yeah, this seems to work quite well. I've got the draconium on top, the 3 ender pearls, and then I just have to set the dragon eggs in here. And this doesn't start, why is that? Oh, pedestal tier too low. Okay, so yeah, these have to be upgraded to draconic tier. Well, that's easy enough to fix. Let's just start some crafts on that. Look how crazy this looks now when all these are crafting. This should be really quick with all these doing it all at once. Oh, and they're all in sync as well, that's awesome. Okay, I got them all switched over, and it appears to have started crafting now, which is a good sign. It means the system is working as intended. Actually, we don't need this cable anymore, do we? And the finished product got pulled out, which is good. And in fact, I'm going to stop this. Yeah, I don't want to craft an infinite just yet, since we don't have dragon eggs. I'm going to have to find a way of limiting this. But yeah, at least we know the system now works, and with that we can now, I believe, put in the recipe for our warp engines. The last component of the warp engines was this dislocator. If we take these, add them to the interface. We also need the 2 thrusters. And we'll set the recipe on this, and this is giving us warp engines. Nice, that was probably one of the most difficult tasks in this tier 7. And we have it done. We just have to obviously fix our Draconic issue, which will soon no longer be an issue. We'll soon be getting loads and loads of those. However, yeah, I think that's about all the time I've got for today. Lots and lots of progress done. Yeah, a lot of these things have been moved, which I wanted to get out of the way. I think I'll probably do some more in between episodes. But yeah, if you have any suggestions on any changes I can make or any improvements, maybe things I missed again, let me know. But until next time, thanks again for watching, and I'll see you tomorrow for some more Omnifactory.